Typically, in the past, we have looked at water by definition as wastewater or drinking water or storm water. But in order to solve some of the problems that we're facing today, especially with the impacts of climate change, we've got to look at it as all one water, and all
Mhm.
water has value.
Hey everyone, it's Bob Crossan. I'm the editorial director for Wastewater Digest. I'm joined today by Susan Moisio. She is Global Vice President of Water for Jacobs, and we're going to be talking about the vision for water from Jacobs' point of view, what they see in the marketplace, and where they see some growth opportunities. So, Susan, thank you so much for taking some time with me today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah. So why don't we start with some of the growth side of things? Are there certain areas in the water or the wastewater market that you're looking at and you're like, we expect to see some good revenue growth in this particular arena of those marketplaces?
Definitely is, and I want to start by highlighting climate change. And
Mm,
climate change is impacted by population growth, by water scarcity, and the whole global vulnerability to natural hazards. This has amplified the need for water resources planning, especially from a water scarcity and a water quality standpoint. So we see that as an area of growth. And
mhm.
at Jacobs, we focus on one water. And so let me define what we mean by one water. We recognize that all water has value. And typically in the past, we have looked at water by definition as wastewater or drinking water or storm water. But in order to solve some of the problems that we're facing today, especially with the impacts of climate change, we've got to look at it as all one water, and all
Mhm.
water has value. The second thing that we've come to realize and we practice is that we recognize that the challenges before us today are complex and interconnected. And so when we come forward with solutions, and we're passionate about working with our clients to provide solutions with them and partnering with them, the solutions have got to be equitable, inclusive, and sustainable. So, kind of wanted to give you that as a background for how we think about things. And so at Jacobs, we're investing in big data.
Mm,
We're investing in artificial intelligence and generative design while building the technology background so that we can solve problems that are across the entire asset lifecycle, from planning
mhm.
to design to construction to operation and asset management. And we have a global talent base. And so that means that we pull from all over the world. We are globally connected
Mhm.
through our technologists and through our projects and through our regions. And so that's how we focus on things. And that's where I see the growth that we're a part of.
Yeah. I like that you talked about those 2 things at the start sound like, uh, different sides of the same coin, right? One water, everything's all connected, and then complex problems that are interconnected, and it's like they feel like they're the same thing, they're just on the opposite side of that same coin.
Right. Well, from that standpoint, if you think about it, and I want to go back to that, thinking of it as all water has value, because
Mhm.
when you look at it from a water scarcity standpoint, for instance, you have to look at it from the standpoint of the water that we have in a basin or a watershed. We need to conserve that water. Certainly, we need to
Mhm.
use it wisely, but we also need to focus on technologies like water reuse, or that when we make sure that we're handling our stormwater well. And then, so if you look at it from the standpoint of not water scarcity, but say too much water, so from a flood management standpoint, definitely have to pay attention to all of the water in that watershed, and you have to pay attention to how you're handling that water well. So that's what
Mhm.
we mean by all water has value, and that the challenge, and we're not trying to solve an issue of we need to build a new treatment plant. When we think about a new treatment plant, whether it's for water or wastewater, we have to look around us, and we have to also come back with solutions that work within our communities.
Mhm. Yeah. So on we talked a little bit about growth. What about some of the headwinds that you foresee? Obviously, there's a lot of regulations still hanging in the balance. It sounds
Right.
like you have like BABA. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge as we're still awaiting some useful guidance to really guide things and assist, especially engineers and consultants. What are you seeing in terms of headwinds? What do you expect is going to create some difficulties for you in 2024?
So, what we're seeing, especially with our clients, is that they're being asked to do more with faster and with less.
Hmm.
Finding skilled folks to work in the water industry is tougher these days. They're having tighter budgets. They have supply chain issues, all the while navigating global climate change. In today's world, the geopolitical issues that we're facing, that's a headwind that we see. We really have
Hmm.
to be aware of where we're working and how we're working. And so we see that for us, looking at this from a global standpoint and bringing our deep domain knowledge to the fore, that's how we're working with our clients.
Okay, yeah. What about like larger trends that you're seeing both nationally and globally? What are you anticipating is going to drive some business around that? You mentioned climate change. I imagine that's a global thing that you're looking at.
That
Are
is
there other
definitely.
things like that that you guys are looking at?
Well, I would preface it with this from the standpoint of investment. So we see the U.S. Infrastructure and Jobs Act. We see the Inflation Reduction Act. A
Hmm.
similar investment across the world. So that's given us the opportunity to do things that we've never done from an investment standpoint. There's
Hmm.
also, at this point in time, from a digital standpoint, we've never seen this opportunity before to get into digital in this way. And so I'm going to start with digital. I think
Yeah.
the digital opportunities today are both an opportunity and they're a challenge. They're an opportunity because when we look at how, and I'm going to go back to my One Water discussion, when you're looking across all of the water in a watershed, you need to understand the data that's coming to you, and you need to be able to, first of all, get good data, and second of all, get actionable data. And to be able to have insights so that our clients and ourselves, because we're in a position where we operate and maintain treatment works here in the United States. So we use this data ourselves. We're able to use this data in a way that we haven't had that opportunity in the past. And so I start with digital. I would go
Hmm.
to decarbonization. Certainly, that is a big focus. Emerging contaminants, something that we probably didn't see coming. And then here we are, and we're in the middle of what are we going to do with this? Social equity. And in
Hmm.
today's world, actually, wherever I work in the world, uh, coming back with something that's good for the community, that's good for the environment. So when we invest in critical infrastructure, that we do so in a way that we make the world and the community a better place. I think that is very, very important. Water quality is very
Hmm.
important. And then, of course, you mentioned it, climate change. So, whether climate change is impacting us from a water scarcity standpoint or a flooding standpoint, that is certainly a mega trend that I am seeing.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, quite a number of trends. I have said for the past year, I feel like water and wastewater professionals have had more things to consider in their day-to-day jobs than ever before in history. And I think you outlining some of those trends kind of shed some light on just how rapidly things are changing for this industry and for water and wastewater professionals out there.
Definitely, they are. I've been working in this industry for 37 years. And, when I started, we didn't have the digital information that we have. We didn't have GIS, we had paper maps. So, when you think of it from that standpoint about being able to make decisions very quickly, but also being able to make decisions on a system basis. And
Mhm.
and I'm going to use it from the standpoint of a wastewater system. If we're making decisions, if we have the right data and we're bringing that data in a way that we can use that data, we can look at how a treatment plant is operating in conjunction with the collection system. That helps us from a regulatory standpoint. That helps us from a water quality standpoint. It helps us from an overflow standpoint where we just operate things better. So I,
Mhm.
I see that as an opportunity that I'm glad it's here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to advance things really rapidly. Already has. You did mention regulations there. Are there regulations that are influencing your business divisions in water and wastewater? And how are you positioning yourself to assist your clients with that? Obviously, you have like the PFAS MCL is very likely to come
Right,
out in the next couple of months, and you have the risk assessment in biosolids when it comes to PFAS as well. But there's
right.
so many other things on top of that, it seems like, that are coming out. What are you looking at in that regard, and how are you positioning Jacobs to address that for your clients?
Well, I'd start with PFAS, as you mentioned. PFAS
Mhm.
is front and center for us, and we're helping our clients adapt their treatment processes. We're in helping advise them and find solutions. I would say the next regulation, one I'm actually really excited about, is direct potable reuse. So we're
Mm,
starting to see regulations come down from that standpoint, and so again, we're helping to advise our clients in advanced treatment technologies and making sure they're in regulatory compliance for this. And then in that area, we do feasibility studies, we do design, build, and operate of these systems as well. One that I'm particularly interested in is happening in the United Kingdom. The UK is looking at CSO regulations now, and
mm,
something that we've had here in the United States for my entire career. Now, the water quality and CSOs and overflows and swimmable rivers, that's a regulation, a set of regulations, I should say, not one single one. And that one, we're advising our clients and assisting them. We're the program managers on the Thames Tideway Tunnel, which is
mm,
a large CSO tunnel that will really help water quality in the Thames River. And then lead and copper. We're advising our clients on lead and copper studies and how to reduce the presence of contaminants, and that from a water treatment standpoint and from a water distribution standpoint.
mhm,
So we look at this from a regulatory compliance standpoint, technology standpoint, infrastructure design and implementation, and then environmental and risk assessments.
mhm. Well, great. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I feel like I've learned a lot about what you guys are looking to do. You got a lot that you're putting on your shoulders and carrying the industry forward on. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of what was most likely a very busy schedule. Is there anything else that you would like to illuminate the audience on for what Jacobs is looking forward to in
You know,
2024?
I guess I would just like to reiterate One Water and
Hmm.
reiterate it from that standpoint that we have to think of all water has value. Challenges are complex and interconnected. Solutions have got to be sustainable, equitable, and inclusive, and that's how we roll.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you.
And for everyone who's watching, you can check out our video description below. We'll have a link to a previous interview with Jen Baldwin, also of Jacobs, as well as some other articles from Jacobs over the years that we have published for them. So thanks so much, Susan. Thank you for your time.